The Federal Reserve has just put interest rates up again. What does that mean for UK property investors? Let's dive into that in this video. Let's get our opinions. Make sure you comment and join in the conversation below. And also, while you're here, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification. We're nearly at 5,000 subscribers. Also, while you're here, smash that like button, guys. That really helps get more views on this channel. And we're really growing this channel at a rapid rate now, and you can help us get even more participation. So, interest rates have gone up again in America. Now, America is doing a lot better with inflation than we are, for sure. I thought they were at 7%. And I just had a look at the data, and they've actually dropped their inflation down to 5%, which I wish we were at, because I can't wait till we stop talking about inflation and just get back on with growing our economy, building jobs, building businesses and stuff like that. All this uncertainty and what's going to happen and how long is it going to take is an absolute nightmare. And it's just been going on and on and on. So US inflation is now at 5%. Now, the Federal Reserve have just upped their interest rates to yesterday, this was. And they went for 0.25%. So they went from 5%, not to get confused with the same inflation number, to 5.25%. So this is the Federal Reserve interest rate. So it's gone from 5% to 5.25%. Now that puts that at a 16-year high, which is interesting. And so what was more interesting, though, is the Federal Reserve quite clearly stated, normally they have these words kind of hidden and they don't go too much detail on this, or if pressed, they answer in a aloof way. But they were quite clear that they now believe that this is the peak of interest rates in the USA, for sure. And they said they're not opposed to rising rates again if this inflation starts going back up or gets out of control. Of course, they're going to do something about it then, but they feel that inflation has peaked. They feel that interest rates have peaked. So that's good news, because at least we know where we stand now, because a lot of people are predicted house price crashes and all of these things, and that could happen, right? No one knows for sure what's going to happen. But when we get more certainty, it means that people can get on with business. It's a lot easier to do a big project, buy a property, or imagine if you're a big business and you wanted to build a hotel or do some big construction. If you know a bit more predictability on where rates are going to be for a little while, it allows you to manage your numbers and actually get that project on track. Is when we have the uncertainty that people pause, and that doesn't help the economy. So big projects will just stop working because they want to see, are rates going to go up or down, or is there going to be a risk of a huge recession? If we can level out that little bit, it means that when we do go into a recession, if we do, it may not be as long or as deep. That's a real consideration here. So what does this mean for us as UK investors? Well, we generally copy the Fed. And so there's been another bank failure this week. I think it's one, but potentially from what I was reading today, there's another bank in the US that's potentially going to fail as well. And where the US is different to the UK is we have in the UK a few banks. I don't know how many is it, like 10 maybe, something like that. Whereas the US, there's hundreds of different banks in different regions. They have certain localized banks, and these are the ones that are failing. And that's because legislation got lax on them and they were allowed to be doing a lot more risky stuff. Now, when the interest rates have gone up, this has really harmed them. It's predicted that more banks might fail in the US. And what that means for us and what we need to keep an eye on as investors is liquidity of funds. So if, for example, a huge number of banks start failing in America, they'll get bailed out, the customers will be looked after, but what will happen is lending will slow down. And that is a problem. In 2008, that was the bigger problem, is the lending started slowing down. So people couldn't do deals, they couldn't remortgage, they couldn't refinance. And that's where people could get in a real difficult situation. Imagine you're on a good fixed rate deal now and you're coming off the end of a deal at the end of this year. But if there's not lending there, or the lending gets stricter, you might not get onto a better deal, and then you might get stuck on the variable rate. That is what causes problems. So looking at the Fed, they've gone up to 5.25%. Are we likely to go up? I think we'll mirror what they've done this month. I think we'll do a 0.25% rise again, and we'll see how that plays out. The problem we've got in the UK is our inflation is expected to drop this quarter, but the first month of the quarter, it went up. And that really isn't helping. So they have data that we don't have access to. They can look at future markets and stuff like that. They must be expecting the next 2 months, hopefully that's going to start dropping and we can get to at least 7%, where I thought America was. And that's what we need to follow, and we'll see happening here. But until inflation starts coming down, our interest rates aren't going to be moving anywhere south for a little while. We were hoping at the end of this year we might start seeing some drops, but until the inflation starts really dropping, you're not going to see much difference here. So what do you think about the US interest rate rise that we've had this week? Comment below. Do you think that will follow on into the UK market? Let's see. Do make sure you like the video. Do make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comment below and let us know your opinion. If you're an investor, will you carry on investing? If you find good deals, will you just keep going, or are you going to wait for the market to correct itself? Let me know in the comments as well. Do check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.